dirty window / greasy conversation presentation today. For the next 2 hours, Terbo Ted is going to be doing a dawless music hardware presentation. So I'm going to point at him now to start the music going. Greasyconversation.com for more details and the replay. So, you're listening to RadioVegas.rocks. This is Terbo Ted. Look him up on Instagram, easy to find. Also from DJ Dad Shirt. You might have seen it at Rebar in Las Vegas. You're listening to Dirty Window Podcast and Greasy Conversation kind of at the same time. This is Waz.lol. I produce both of those, and I'm here reactivating Terbo Ted. And I just wanted to mention a couple sponsors. If you're looking for Viagra, you know what I'm talking about. Blue pill for your wiener. 1-800-626-6538. That's 1-800-626-6538. Hit them up. They'll hook you up. We get a little money for the studio. RadioVegas.rocks. Looking to invest in gold? Here's a number for that. 1-800-430-7568. Rewind it if you want that gold. Moving on. Keto. Need some help doing some keto? 1-800-417-2119. Doing these quick. You need some legal help. 1-800-507-3114. You rewind these, you call these, you help RadioVegas.rocks out. It's great. Motor Mission in Las Vegas. Google them, Motor Mission, they'll fix your car. CBD Moments. Moments, like a moment in time. Hit up CBD Moments. If you mention RadioVegas.rocks, they'll CBD you up. You'll get a discount, we'll get money. Sasquatch. Soap Squatch. I'm sorry. Go to RadioVegas.rocks. Click on the stuff about soap. You'll get that Squatch soap. You'll smell good. Ladies will like it. Zip Fizz. Buy Zip Fizz. Mention RadioVegas.rocks. They've been with us forever. Jesse Ray's Barbecue in Las Vegas. Terbo Ted, do you hear me? You ready to make some noise? Jesse Ray's Barbecue always feeds us. 511 tactical clothes. If you want clothes that's normally for like cops and firefighters and stuff, you can buy regular folk versions. Affordable. Link at RadioVegas.rocks. Let's roll this music back in, start rolling it in, Ted, and I'm going to roll my mic back. Hit it. Stay tuned. Replay at RadioVegas.rocks. Replay at GreasyConversation.com. You are listening to Radio Vegas Rocks. This is a combo podcast, Dirty Window, the new podcast presented by Greasy Conversation. We're combining our slots today to present Terbo Ted from DJ Dadshirt. That's who you're hearing right now. And Radio Vegas Rocks couldn't do it without Jesse Ray's Barbecue. When you come to Las Vegas, you got to get Jesse Ray's. We couldn't do it without Kicker Audio. Big shout out to Kicker. They put the speakers inside here and outside and all our headphones. Kicker Personal Audio, you might know them for car subs, but man, do they bring it up. They bring it to us, and we couldn't do it sounding as good without them. Moments CBD. Go to Vegas, get your CBD from them. You can get it Googling it. Moments, like a moment in time, CBD. Got to mention Radio Vegas Rocks, though. Then we get hooked up. Did you know we have a sister station that we also maintain our music licensing with? Radio Vegas Rocks, you might not know, is special as far as online web radio station time goes because we actually pay the artists the royalties through BMI, ASCAP, and CSAC. That's handled also for High Quality Rock. Look up High Quality Rock, Google it. That's a sister station of us too that we also maintain, and it's got all that high quality rock. It's no harder to explain than that. Now, taxes. Get your taxes done and help Radio Vegas Rocks at the same time. It's 1-800-918-7169. Rewind it. Get those taxes. Recording is at greasyconversation.com for the playback. Renewal by Anderson. Google Renewal by Anderson for car fix-it-up time, restoration. Let's see, soap. Get your soap, radiovegas.rocks. Click on the link for Squatch, your soap action at you. And 511 Tactical Clothing. Really strong pants that you can hike in and also look cool. All right, so throw us some love in those places to keep the lights on in our fabulous Kicker cabin. GreasyConversation.com to see a video of this in action. And, Ted, how you feeling over there? Are you ready to re-kick? Ready to kick that mule? Give me some winks and let's get some audio back from you. That's right. That's right, Terbo Ted in the house. You're listening to Terbo Ted. Terbo Ted.
It's so right. So
You are listening to radiovegas.rocks. This is Terbo Ted. Go to greasyconversation.com for the replay. Quick shout out to Pinche's Tacos. We couldn't do it without them. Get your Pinche's Tacos when you're in Las Vegas. If you go to radiovegas.rocks right now, we'd love if you clicked on some of our sponsors. It helps us keep the lights paid and the bills lit up. If you need some medical supplies, call 1-800-451-4785. Keto. Call this number to get your keto on. It's going to help you out. 1-800-417-2119. You mention radiovegas.rocks to anybody. It's going to help us out. We couldn't do this without you all in the community. We need you. Droplets here for greasyconversation.com to keep tuning in at this slot for Dirty Window, a podcast by Brian Gibson and Tiffany Salerno. It's a new Greasy Conversation spinoff, and you're going to hear music that you haven't heard anywhere else. And I need your help to help get them started as a fresh podcast. Another new Greasy podcast we have going is called Haunted Saloon. Tune into that Wednesdays at 1 o'clock. GreasyConversation.com for more info or that. Or to listen to past episodes. You can tune in podcasty style on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, Stitcher, wherever you get your podcasts. All these will be there until they branch off as their own little families, but we're getting them started with Greasy, so you know they're in the family. Terbo Ted, you ready to make some more noise?
I'm ready to make some more noise.
He's ready to make some more noise. Stick around.
Na S'il vous plaît, ne soyez pas avant NBC. S'il vous plaît, ne soyez pas avant NBC. Ne soyez pas. S'il vous plaît, ne soyez pas avant NBC. S'il vous plaît, ne soyez pas avant NBC.
All right, you are listening to Radio Vegas Rocks. This has been Terbo Ted, live, dawless, all hardware music performance by Terbo Ted, live on Radio Vegas Rocks. You're listening to Greasy Conversation. You were just listening to the Dirty Window podcast. The Dirty Window podcast is a new spinoff from Greasy Conversation. And Terbo Ted, I'm going to have you sit right across from me. And this new podcast, as well as another new one called Haunted Saloon, are both available at RadioVegas.rocks at different time slots that you can find out at greasyconversation.com. Okay, let me take a breath. I'm super excited. I'm having like the day of my year today with that music. And you can hear a playback of it. Again, greasyconversation.com, spelled the way you expect, is where you're going to find all these new podcasts and recording of this one. It's a special double thing to get you guys aware of the Dirty Window podcast by Brian Gibson and Tiffany Salerno. That's I'm an Alien Zine. That's Wax Pig Melting. That's a bunch of local music and art heritage. Terbo Ted is joining us now to do our segment that Greasy Conversation usually is. We left you a little tail of the music in our trailing into our slot. But what we usually do is react to dank news, and extra bonus today, I even have an interview with Recycled Propaganda himself, Izaac, that we will dig into later. So Greg's here. Let's get started. And that's right. All right. It is Greasy Conversation. It is the new seamless combo with Dirty Window podcast. And we're all here. Greg's here. We've got Terbo Ted in the house. He was just doing music with us. Say hi, Ted.
Hello.
Here we go. We're
dope
doing
ass
it.
set too.
Hell yeah.
Check it out. That was fucking dope.
Thank you.
Greg,
Had a great time, man.
Did you get a chance to get the sweet, sweaty, deep news dives pulled up yet?
Oh,
With
yeah.
that computer I left you all crazy over there?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Shout out to two clueless dudes for buying this mic stand here. Mad Mike, a classic co-host of the Rocking Comedy Show, the podcast that's the flagship of the station, Radio Vegas.rocks, that started it all. Crazy J, Mad Mike here. He co-hosts Two Clueless Dudes. He's behind that computer, and now this mic stand. He saves his pennies and throws us little bones. So big, one of the co-brothers of the studio I want to shout out, and I really want you to check out his show, which frankly is starting to kick mine's butt, but that's okay because I produce it too. It's another Greasy Conversation spin-off, Two Clueless Dudes. It's its own website. We spell it the right way. Check it out. Download it. So, on that note, let's, hand it over to Greg. What's up, buddy?
This time. So, Spinal Tap fans.
That's me.
Yeah.
That's me. I'm a Spinal Tap fan.
Yeah,
Hell yeah, me too.
So, these researchers are doing a study on Stonehenge, some acoustic studies to figure out like why it was built the way it is, and they determined that it was built to trap sound in and then keep people outside of
Whoa.
Stonehenge from hearing what's going on inside. So probably they are guessing for ancient rituals. But to do this, they had to build a mini Stonehenge.
Ha!
Oh, nice.
18 inches tall, right?
Yeah,
Is it-
exactly 18 inches tall. No, I don't know. I tried to find out, and it says like 1/12 scale or something. Yeah, 1/12 scale, so I don't think it's the same. I was hoping, though. But it looks, I mean, that looks like Stonehenge, or Spinal Tap's Stonehenge.
It's at risk of getting crushed by a dwarf.
Let me bring
Constantly.
that fella up.
That was when they
moment.
actually had like special security guards to keep all the dwarfs out.
If you want to
just in
see
case.
this, you just in case, if you go to greasyconversation.com, there's links to all our news notes, so you can actually look at what we're looking at in real time.
Yeah, and it's kind of cool. Like they go into how they set it up and how they tested it. So if you want some more detail, you can go to our news notes and check it out. But it's pretty dope. 3D printed all the stones, and they had to test like a few different layouts because apparently we don't know how it was like actually laid out, and they think there were a few different ways it was laid out or rearranged a few times over its lifespan. So
In the book Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, they had that rock band, what they're called, Disaster Area or whatever. Was it
My-
Disaster Zone, Disaster Area?
Favorite book. Yeah, I remember
And they
that.
played in a bunker. They had like a 11-foot wall concrete, 11-foot concrete walls, and the best place to listen to the band was like on an orbiting moon or something like that.
I remember
Oh
the
my God,
guy
I remember
had a
that.
ship that was matte black, and his name was Matte Black, and all the controls in his ship would light up matte black on matte black to know when you'd pressed one of them.
How do you do that? So I'm just wondering if there's a connection between the Disaster Area band from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy and the way they actually built that Stonehenge thing.
I hope so. Yeah, Slarty Bart Fast.
oh man, yeah.
Do we count as nerds now?
Oh yeah, that's cred. 42 all day.
This one goes to 11.
Man, if you're not familiar with those series, I'm saying things that make no sense. Oh my gosh.
Right. If you're not, you-
Improbability Drive.
yeah, you should familiarize yourself.
Yeah,
if
get
you're-
ready.
If you're not.
That is literally my favorite series of literature, period, is the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy series of books. Yeah,
A classic.
mostly harmless, all that.
You know, I saw this, not Stonehenge, Spinal Tap. I saw Spinal Tap in the theaters, and it had a black album cover. You're saying Matte Black? The album cover was the black album, wasn't the white album?
nice. Oh, that had to influence it, yeah.
And I was a teenager. I saw that film, and I cried in the theater.
Yeah.
Nice.
At
There's
what
that.
part?
There's the part where Nigel's remote wireless guitar thing starts getting all the crosstalk from the air traffic control, and he walks off the stage and quits the band. I cried in the
Oh,
theater.
man.
I was a teenager, and I was devastated.
Like not Spinal Tap.
I love it. I love
Was it-
feeling the urge to perform on that like level of like, I love this that much. I'm feeling
When that
this.
movie came out, because that was like really before mockumentaries. That was like one of the first mockumentaries, right?
Well,
So,
they,
like,
they had spoofs and comedy films,
Yeah.
but that was its all new thing. And there's like Fear of a Black Hat that came out later. That was like, do you remember that one?
I haven't seen that one. Doesn't
That's a
ring a
good
bell.
film.
I was just
Nice.
wondering, was it like immediately known as a joke?
Yeah, it was obviously a
Okay.
comedy.
That would be crazy if it was like Blair Witch, where some people were like, "Is this real?"
Yeah, like, I wonder if there was even like a week where people were like, "Oh yeah, when Spinal Tap touring."
When they toured, they did tour. That's the funny.
Oh,
joke.
that's right. Yeah, they did.
And you're talking about spoofs. Remember War of the Worlds, the Orson Welles thing? I was studying that again this year. Was it 1938 or 39?
Oh wow!
I don't
Orson
remember the
Welles,
exact
War of the
year.
Worlds. Do you
Forgot
guys
it
know
was
that one?
that early. I want to say 39.
39.
I don't know. I can find out, but you have to keep talking if I look it up.
So they had this thing where they had a radio broadcast, and it was like a Saturday night thing on the radio. And there weren't that many radio stations, and it's an Orson Welles show, and they have like boring music, and then they cut away. Hi, we have an urgent alert that's coming to us from somewhere in New Jersey. We believe there's some kind of strange fire and accident, and we'll report back in a short moment, but we'll return to the main studio in New York. Well, thank you, and returning to the normal musical programming. Dun, 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 and they'd have like big band.
Yeah.
And like, we're gonna go back out to wherever in New Jersey. Hi, we're out in some field and there's some strange fire. We're reporting on it. And they did that sort of thing.
Yeah, and they come in and out. It's freaky.
And people were like, panicking over
Yeah.
it being real.
So in 2013, it was 75 years ago.
So
The
38.
actual original thing was written in 1897.
Oh, they ripped it
Wow.
off from somebody, huh?
Well, no, Orson it was released as a. So this was 1938
I
when
got
the
it right
radio
then.
broadcast happened.
Nice.
But apparently, the 1897, the first publication of it by H.G. Wells. It was like serialized novel, fiction novel.
Okay.
Wow. So Orson Welles, it's crazy to think of the span of time that he was unbelievably influential in. Our dude Orson. Holla.
That would be. It's just strange to think like nothing like that could happen now. Could it?
Nothing like that could happen now. What are you talking about?
Well, I mean, you
Yeah,
couldn't fake
I
like
feel
a,
like it
What's something
literally
that's fake in the
currently
news?
happens. Yeah.
Nothing fake ever happens in the news.
All you have to
Well, no,
do
I mean
is
like
get
something of like that, like faking an alien invasion.
I think you could actually.
live in real time though. It'd be tricky because people can double check really epically crazy things.
But if you had people like working with like a series of tweets and stuff backing you up, that's how they did the show. Like, we're going back to New Jersey, and there's a remote
Like
call
fake
in. And
newscastings, yeah.
Yeah,
you could have that if you had
get, especially when you get information to like the main providers, and like say if you get both Fox and CNN to cover the same fake thing, you're covered.
right.
Yeah, if
For
you
a
got
certain
that, yeah, if
demo.
you got that lined
it-
up, yeah.
And
You
if you, had
did
a,
not-
if you had a badass AI doing enough deep fakes with enough accounts where
Yeah.
there's enough footage that because an AI could create a scene that's rendered and then have a bunch of people posting like say there's like a demonstration or a shooting or something, and AI has footage of that, and then it has like wobbly camera footage from 9 different angles, and it all gets posted at the same time. Oh my God, look at this! It's a horrible disaster. And then they go, "Whoa, I saw that camera too, and I saw that was a different account." And you could trick people that way, and AI
Yeah.
especially.
That's seriously like
I can
you
see
could
it.
CG people, and if they're further away running from an imaginary explosion, like that's even easier to do than a close-up face.
Right.
That could, not that I'm giving anyone ideas, but
It'll happen, man. AI's
Yeah.
are the deep fakes.
And like, yeah, deepfakes are gnarly. Like that shit's pretty scary, honestly. Womp womp.
yeah.
All right. So we found, scientists did, not we. Us sitting
No,
here at the
we
table.
it.
The
Human
royal-
beings.
the
We're part of
royal-
that we.
The royalist we. Found the oldest sperm sample trapped in amber. 100 million year old money shot.
Yeah, does it
a-
look cool? I have to look at this.
I don't know. They
saved-
don't really show it. Like it doesn't really look like anything. The pictures they show.
What the
I guess.
heck?
That's strange looking.
Is it just
Yeah.
showing the animals that are humping for this? Because it looks like. How would you describe this crab in a walnut shell kind of situation?
Well, that's what
here?
they're like. They're apparently some type of bivalve. So I think they're like related to like mollusks.
From looking at that on the screen, if you ate that, you start hallucinating.
Yeah, it looks like little segmented leg, fuzzy finger fellas reaching out of this little clamshell thing, but also they're humping.
Ooh.
Yeah, totally. They're getting it on.
This is like a Rorschach test. I see like a
Yeah.
space alien sky jellyfish thing with tentacles.
Yeah, and then this weird corkscrew,
That's weird.
like corkscrew mushroom time.
Yeah, don't eat it.
Oh man, did you guys
That's the good
scroll
one.
down to where you see it's like you see it really naked?
Oh
You
yeah,
see
these
behind-
like scans.
Yeah, behind the what do you call it, pistachio shell?
That looks like a beanbag terrarium.
Yeah. Wait, is that
Oh.
such a thing? Like a terrarium that's in a beanbag, so when you sit on it, all the life gets all smashed to conform to you? You like shuffle around in front of the TV and it just like wrecks their whole civilization in there.
You guys have been in
War
here.
of the Worlds. There we go. Right.
Beanbag
And
terrarium.
what was the Dr. Seuss thing where like Horton Hears a Who or something where there's
Oh,
there
yeah.
was like some whole alien universe and like a speck of dust or something
Oh,
like that.
Man, that just gave me the willies. Yeah, for sure. That's how I get ASMR, not from people whispering to me, but people saying these like epic perception of reality shaking statements. ASMRs me good.
Right.
Now that's a picture of two beanbags humping.
Oh yeah, beanbags that have a weird plant growing out of them.
Alien beanbags from survivors from War of the Worlds.
Holy cow!
From the invasion. They made it.
That's from Douglas Rushkoff's book, or is that the right author?
Oh, don't have me double check. I know Robert Heinlein. I know
Who is it? What?
I can't remember.
I know like 2 authors. Michael Crichton. I don't know any authors' names. So now you're all disappointed. Okay. Suspense.
Oh yeah, this thing, man. Every
What
time I see
else?
shit like this, I can't wait. So, these dudes built apparently this giant prosthetic exobionic mech suit that looks like a giant four-legged. It looks insane.
We are having a strong video podcast for you audio people that were enjoying the music. This might be one to tune into the YouTube and buzz over to this because we're looking at crazy stuff today.
Yeah,
For
this
the
thing, like
record.
anything that brings
Holy
us closer
crap.
to like robot battles and shit. Like I'm all for. Fucking
Oh,
sign me up,
man.
dude. Robot Wars, 1988, I think.
I have never so quickly opened window in a separate tab as this thing. So for you audio folks, preview. This thing is way more spider-like than I imagined. This guy is standing under the belly of the spider, and there's these 4 legs reaching out that look like triangle pieces of amusement park ride. They look like the things that hold up a section of track for a roller coaster, and yet this thing is like standing on them. I bet it doesn't move quickly.
Yeah, I doubt it. I'm trying to see how like tall it is. They say it weighs 9,000 pounds. The thing's like.
It looks 20 feet tall. It looks like the skeleton of those weird humping beanbags we just saw.
Oh yeah, it could be. Yeah, it's the grafting before that we shrunk them.
Yeah, it's about to make a little bit of motion of it that you can see.
It's like Evangelion, but better or worse.
He's showing like clips
They
of.
show clips of like CGI robots in movies. Like, yeah, almost.
Wow, it moves way quicker than I expected. This thing,
Run!
the amount of like wiggle that it has to it too. He's hanging from like springs like in a trampoline. Gosh, this thing gets around.
Oh, that moves
Holy
way
cow.
quicker than I thought. Actually,
Way quicker than I expected. This thing seriously tromps around, and the way it moves too, it looks extremely real. Like, it's crazy to me how not fake it looks.
And this huge robot's emerging from the fire in New Jersey. I'm terrified. I'm running. Oh my God. Look, it's coming to get us. Ah!
Okay, wait. That final angle, though, I have to point out, it's like front legs go between its back legs as it walks. So in slow motion, it kind of looks like a funny, like it's gonna drag its butt on the ground kind of dog, you know, where those little dogs where the butts really hang out
they
because they're
scoot?
all, yeah, it's a little butt scooter.
oh man.
Oh my gosh.
It's like the new kids' toys now that defecate. Are you aware of those?
No.
You can buy these little kids' toys where they come with this like little kit where you mix this sort of Play-Doh slime together and then you put it inside the little robot thing and then they poop, basically.
How
You haven't seen
long-
these? You guys don't have kids, man.
How
They have
long
these
has
killer.
that been a
we
thing?
didn't get toys like this when we were kids. I'm kind of jealous. You can buy them as grown-ups though and play with them yourself.
Oh my gosh. So wait, I'm not jealous of that one. I wasn't like, oh man, I wish my toys pooped. But
How about that giant robot that's 20 feet tall? Does it poop?
Not yet. It doesn't.
dude, this guy, when he gets mangled by a beam that just goes crossways, it poops out his 2 halves of his body
Ow.
that fall out the butt part. That got gory in a sec, but like, that's real
Well,
talk,
how-
y'all.
on the video, like they took this picture just to make it seem massive.
Oh.
'Cause
Yeah,
It wasn't nearly that big. It looks like it's probably like 9,
Oh.
10 feet tall.
that's a good point. When you go to, whoa, let's find that window. Excuse me. He is not. Oh, you're right. This is forced perspective.
Yeah, yeah.
He's blurry in the background. He's standing so far behind it that he looks like he fits underneath. He is actually, it's probably a little bit shorter than twice as tall as him. So he's like, a kneecap to a waist above the ground when he's hanging from it.
You know, I've been to Burning Man. That's nothing, man. I've seen way bigger than that.
This is no mech, though. The way it scoots around, the way it, like, shakes and moves around like it's got, like, a swagger.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
because
what
it's
I
like an exoskeleton, so it depends on your movements. You're like, it just amplifies your movements.
I want to see if someone can make a TikTok video of it doing idiotic dance moves.
Yeah, I want to see it
Not yet.
dance like
Just
a
wait, man.
Tesla X. That kind of flaps its doors.
Those stupid TikTok dances people were doing a couple weeks or months ago. Remember those?
I think
There's
it's
like a new
still
one, like, every
always
week.
happening. Yeah.
It seems like that fad passed.
There's no way.
nah.
It's about to become illegal is all.
Oh.
That's all. TikTok.
Well, like that stops dancing, right?
Yeah, so, right? TikTok is like the Irish. Remember when they like had to dance from the waist down so they would be seen in the windows?
Oh, right.
I might be butchering this, y'all. Holler in the chat if
I
I'm
don't remember none of
messing
that.
up history. But yeah, TikTok is about to become shut down because our government hasn't allowed anyone to buy them yet. More recently, it was going to be Oracle that was going to buy TikTok their U.S. situation. So right now, TikTok is practically like illegal. I think you have to VPN it to TikTok in the United States. Maybe it's about to become, because I didn't manually check on that. This is just rumor.
Yeah, I haven't seen articles about it, but I haven't seen it like.
It's like our own government wants exclusive rights to spy on us. Like, you can't have another country spying on us.
Boom, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, we don't get the rights to that TikTok like we get no problem into that Facebook junk, I betcha, if it was subpoenaed.
Subpoena!
Subpoenaed!
You playing the Pink Floyd song now? I heard that.
That'd be funny if that's what that
Money.
chunk was from. No, that's just success
It's a
sounds.
crime.
That's when we win.
Oh.
It's a little bit of that. It's crazy to think that you haven't actually been on the talk show yet, Ted.
Me?
'Cause we've done so much musical stuff together. Quick plug, woz.lol. It's where I hype all my gear modding and maintenance. I maintain all the audio tech stuff and video tech stuff for this studio as well as Terbo Ted's gear. I keep Terbo Ted's gears all screwed together, and he's using a MIDI transposer that I made for him, and we have the Manos Arcade. Manos Arcade, like Spanish for hands. I'm gesturing like a size that's not even it. It's got arcade buttons, it's a synth, it's in progress, and it's a collaborative design that we're working on, and it was earlier in this episode in the center of the screen. You
You can see pictures of it and a couple social media posts at manosarcade.com. That's MANOSARCADE.com. Boom.
That's right. That's the distant thunder of success. Ha! And while Greg's pulling up another article,
Smells like rain, man.
it's like moist right now. It's that fire rain. It's that wet fire.
That's a
What?
James Taylor song.
Wet fire.
We've seen fire and some rain.
And I seen rain that was on fire also.
So we have humping beanbags and killer robots and fire on rain or rain on fire.
So hyped on this episode. You know what? Is it already
I was just thinking we should probably
John Goodman time?
pay some John Goodman.
Play some John Goodman's.
My doctor prescribed me Viagra. It wasn't covered by my insurance, so it was costing me like $65 a pill. That's expensive.
Over 20 million guys like us use Viagra. Over a certain age, we just need it. I found a way to pay less than $3 a pill and get virtually the same effect of the $65 pill. I heard an ad just like this on the radio, called, and for $99, I got 40 generic versions of the $65 pill. Save yourself money and call right now and get over 40 pills for $99. There's no embarrassment here to use Viagra. If we're over 50, we need it, but not at high prices. Call now with your credit card and get the 40 pill special for just $99.
800-626-6538. 800-626-6538. That's 800-626-6538.
In times of economic uncertainty and chaos, your money means nothing. You may not even be able to get it from your bank or ATM. And the money you do have in the stock market will go down and down. What you can bank on is gold and silver. Gold and silver have been a reliable and trusted form of currency for thousands of years. Gold and silver have never been worth zero, and typically gold holds its value during economic turmoil. Call the Gold Hotline now and learn how to protect your money and your assets with gold and silver. And learn how to set up a new IRA or roll over your current one into a gold-backed IRA. Protect your money from the next market crash with gold and silver. Call now for your free gold guide.
800-430-7568. 800-430-7568. 800-430-7568. That's 800-430-7568.
Hi, my name is Lily. My mom and dad used to fight about money all the time. Then one day, I heard them talking about this guy, some uncle I never knew, called Uncle Sam. Well, they say this Uncle Sam guy wanted them to pay him like $1 gazillion, and they didn't have $1 gazillion. So they called this company they heard on the radio called the Tax Doctor. And the Tax Doctor worked with Uncle Sam's people. I think they're called the IRS. And they are able to work it out so my mom and dad didn't have to pay Uncle Sam very much money at all. So now mom and dad are happy, and I'm happy too. Thanks, Tax Doctor.
If you owe $10,000 or more to the IRS or state, call now and pay less.
800-918-7169. 800-918-7169.
Be sure to get your mix of music. Listen to us with the RadioVegas.rocks app available at the App Store. And check out our VIP card, interact with us in our chat room, and scheduling of our RadioVegas.rocks shows, plus podcasts. It's all available on RadioVegas.rocks app.
Welcome back. You're listening to Greasy Conversation on RadioVegas.rocks. We're back
That's
again.
right. Uh-oh. A second time. Oh!
We have a lot of news with Venus lately.
I saw this. They found some kind of a gaseous residue that indicates there is some kind of life form possible.
Like possibility of life, yeah. So that
You know I've been screaming about this for a minute, y'all.
Yeah.
If you've been listening to Greasy Conversation for a second, since like season 1, I've been saying the whole reason why we're looking at colonizing Mars and not Venus is because people are surfacists. People are anti-surface. You think you got to have a surface to live somewhere? People have lived on the sea for generations. Venus's atmosphere has layers of various densities that you could float in between like an ocean, like a water world. If we would get over this whole surface fixation, we got fuel, we got stuff we can make into air and water out of those layers of atmosphere on Venus.
I've heard of like theoretical cloud beings in Venus, and you could be like a life form that's made of plasma and not necessarily carbon. I mean, there's all kinds of ways that could work.
Damn right.
Yeah, or there could be, I don't know, like floaty things and all kinds of shit that could develop.
Humping beanbags,
Yeah,
killer
floating
robots.
beanbag, like beanbags that hump in the air, totally. Only in the air, floating around, just humping away. Venus sounds lit as fuck, dude.
Sure does.
Right? So
maybe you got it.
Because of this, NASA is now discussing the possibility of some exploration to Venus, and also Russia has just flat out claimed Venus as their own.
Nice.
What could go wrong?
Powerful Russia. Hey, you know what? If they clean it up, they keep the trains running on time. I don't know where I'm going with this.
Well, it's interesting because, like, it is an interesting question, like, who gets to claim, like, planets? Like, no one gets to claim, like, heavenly bodies. And, I don't know, at some point all the nations decided that everything is just international. Like, space is just international.
Didn't Madonna claim someone's heavenly body tonight in a song?
Yeah, for sure. If you can name that song, holler in the chat. Post too. You can?
I'm showing my age.
It's no. Listen, Ray of Light, that album, she might have been like in like the 50s pocket, but there's like a nip showing and this like sheer thing, and she's doing the splits. Ray of Light, Madonna forever.
All right.
So, life on Venus, what do you guys think?
It's a possibility, but I doubt.
Holler in the chat about it.
I mean, nothing's gonna happen for like years. So
It's going to be a minute before we can really test things too much, but I'm really happy that we're waking up to some more probes on there because there's a lot of, floaty atmospheric time, and the surface, is overrated.
I'm thoroughly convinced there's all kind of electromagnetic beings, like I said, that aren't carbon-based that live, and maybe people call them angels or ghosts or spirits or whatever, but I think there's like, a lot of flora and fauna, if you will, that are out there without a physical body like we understand it, like we're stuck in.
So I love this idea of electromagnetic beings, because if you think about parts of the electromagnetic spectrum, they can mess with each other, and we only have the ability to detect one narrow sliver of it personally, and then with all of our instruments, we can only mess with little bands at a time. I was even seeing a spectrum analyzer that costs as much as a Nissan, and working with a 5G presentation for a major carrier that I'm doing as a video gig, WOZ.LOL for high-tech stuff. So that's part of how earlier I was able to like kind of verify that 5G isn't dangerous. And in fact, the real danger is financial because the really slow, tiny waves go away quickly. So it's hard to get them to travel far. But that's what I'm working with, is a company that's making repeaters for this network thing. But anyway, the 5G thing, WOZ.LOL, high-tech stuff, forgot my initial point. And I dissolved into plug time.
It happens.
I honestly, I just forgot what we were even talking about just now.
Are we conspiracy theorists now that you said 5G?
Yeah,
I'm
totally.
going to get my career ruined for being on this show.
So get my conspiracy about 5G. I think this conspiracy is a real 5G conspiracy, and it's not covered by my NDA, so I can tell you it.
Oh.
I believe, and this is as a media professional, not as the other thing, because I'm actually doing cameras, more assembly for that anyway. My conspiracy for 5G is, prepare, suspense. There are people that have perpetuated the myth of 5G being dangerous that actually work for network providers, because by spreading fear of 5G, they have the opportunity to, as a public service, hype 5G. By talking about it being safe and by debunking that, there'd be no reason to debunk 5G theories if there wasn't 5G theories and people were just okay with it, and they're just like, oh, whatever, it's another G, it's like 4G or whatever, it's no big deal, and people just don't get excited about buying a new cell phone or going with a provider with better 5G coverage because they haven't heard the hype that you get from debunking theories about something. So that's my theory.
That actually makes a lot of sense to me.
Right?
I think I did actually see a recent study that looked at like trees and plants that were near just any sort of cell phone tower, because like a 4G or 5G or 3G, it's a super high bandwidth signal, so I'm not necessarily terribly worried about it because it's really fast. But apparently because it's such a small bandwidth that it can do patterns inside of cells, whether they're plants or humans, and humans move around too fast. But I think that they did have a study fairly recently that showed that trees that are facing line of sight close distance to a 4G or whatever tower tend to get kind of cooked on one side.
Well, especially for something like a tree and for how close trees can be to where the antennas are compared to how close people are allowed to be from them.
Right.
That's a factor. If you think about how crazy exponents are and how difficult it is to understand something that changes exponentially with distance, it's not something humans understand very well. But say you touch a stove, it'll burn you, right? But say you're like a centimeter away from it, you could tell it's warm, but you're not necessarily in danger. And you get a couple inches away, you might barely be able to tell it's warm. A few feet, can't tell at all. So you get like half a centimeter away, it's getting hot, but it's still not burning you. Half that, still not touching, might get burned if you hang on there. But the moment you move that last quarter centimeter, it's like all the way super burny. And the thing is with these antennas is they have regulations that depend on the distance from them. So they're off when people install them and when people service them. And they're not healthy like a foot away, although it's still like not that dramatic. But the amount of difference between being a foot away or a tree nearby or being like at ground level is exponentially different, where like you wouldn't notice a stove on across the room necessarily. So I hope that makes you feel safer. But also these bands are like relatively chill too.
So you're saying don't climb up the tower and lick it?
No, not only that, but I can't confirm the tree thing.
Oh.
So I'm not even gonna like totally say I necessarily
But also,
believe
yes, lick
that.
the towers.
Yeah, you wouldn't lick them when they're off because the plastic they're made out of. Wow, chef's kiss to that. Delicious.
It's tasty, yeah.
Polycarbonates, so good.
Do you have a sound effect for licking a cell tower?
Yeah, it's totally like, yeah. There you go. That was so good.
I usually carry around the recorded one, but you know.
I was gonna just hit a random one and
I know.
claim it's that. That's what I usually do. It's like, oh yeah, this is licking
This
a
is the
cell
sound
tower.
effect now. All right, so I found this bizarre one. This small town in Australia, there's a hotel with a bar in it, and apparently they had to ban a pair of emus that are kind of like the resident emus that live around. And so these emus named Kevin and Carol, because of course, got into this. They were kind of like just around and neighborhood emus, but they got into the hotel and went up the stairs to the bar and started wreaking havoc by eating everyone's food and chasing people around for their food and shit.
Aw, that's so emu.
Yeah, so then they have to put like a guard, like a
Electric fence, man.
some type of like door guard, and have people replace it like a dog guard, you know?
Right.
But there's just a few of the things these people are saying about these emus at the end. They're like, if they had control of their bowels, the emus would be welcome inside. Yeah, they're a tad incontinent. Someone agreed.
Oh my
I've
gosh.
been
and
to
they're
Australia.
ripping people's food out of their hands. Hey, these emus survived some fire. I'd give them some slack. It's like a lot of... I can't believe they're not burnt down. Look at her hugging them.
I could talk on this topic for ages. I've been to Australia twice for a month each time. And,
Nice.
And I did go... I have a lot of Australia stories that fit this story. Oh, man. I have looked an emu in the face in a wildlife preserve.
It's fucking
And
Australia
they
time.
Are, okay. Good on you, mate. Too easy if you don't come out, no worries. But emus are probably the most foul creatures I have ever encountered. And I'm a big dude. I'm 6'1",
No way,
right?
really?
I'm 6'1". In this wildlife preserve, they had them on the other side of this electric fence, and they come right up to you, barking at you, and they're like the size of an ostrich. They're big and they're mean, and
And
they're
they bark, apparently?
well, they're
Oh,
like
God.
birds are descended from dinosaurs. Sorry,
Wait,
about your
do that
ears
one
there.
more time.
There we go. So
Yeah.
they've got their their big long neck like a swan or something, but it's like bigger than your forearm, and it's like all hollow, and they go and this huge like blood curdling roar comes out of them, and they open their mouth. It's horrible, these things, and they're mean and they're aggressive, and Australia's full of these sort of things. So this wildlife preserve I was in, they had emus, and they're just very foul. They had what were the other ones they have? The ones that are well, I want to tell you, you told a snatching food story. You want to hear the snatching food
Yeah.
story?
Oh, yeah. I want to hear all
So
the
I'm there with
stories.
my daughter, who was like 2 at the time, and you walk around this nature preserve, and they're like, well, there's the kangaroo and wallaby enclosure. So you go to the kangaroo and wallaby enclosure, and you walk through it, and you can buy these little bags of food to feed them, which is kind of like breakfast cereal. And so we put our little money in the vending machine and got a little bag of what looked like Purina kangaroo chow or whatever.
Nice.
And they tell you they take the male kangaroos and wallabies out of the herd because they're way too violent. And so, we're walking through this enclosure, and we're like, "Do you see any? I don't see any kangaroos, man. Like, we got this bag of food. Where's the kangaroo? I don't see any wallabies or kangaroos. What the hell?" And then all of a sudden, you're like, the complete horizon is full of eyes staring at you from every direction.
No.
And there's like wallabies and kangaroos and the moms and the joeys and the kids or whatever, and they're all like looking at you, and then they just slowly are like creeping at you like zombies, and you're like, oh good, we're gonna feed them, we're gonna feed them, we're gonna feed them. And so we're sitting there, and I got my little 2-year-old daughter, and she's got a little fistful
terrifying.
of this like Purina kangaroo chow, which looks like breakfast cereal. And you could see the kangaroos with their whole routine. They're coming up to you like, don't scare the humans. So they come up to you real quick, and like my little daughter, she's 2 years old. She's got a little fist, a grubby little fist to like, food out.
Yeah.
And the kangaroo gets closer and closer and closer and closer and closer, and it's kind of reaching for like the hand of the food. And at the very last second, it gets all the way up to you. Snag! It grabs the bag and runs off.
The whole bag.
The whole bag. Yeah, they're like they fake for the hand. They know how this works, and they take the whole bag, and you're like, whoa, that was a bunch of money that's gone.
Wow, nice.
And what else did I see? I saw koalas.
Real quick, I had a cat that would fake out as I'd go through the door. It would move around my legs in this pattern where I'd see it on one side of my legs and not realize it was escaping behind my legs through the door with its timing. It was so calculated. Okay,
So in this
koalas.
wildlife preserve, they had koalas, and they're really slow. They're like sloths, and they look so cute, but they're really foul, and they're mean, and they smell bad, and they're just they're kind of gross, And you'd think they're so cute, you would not want to touch one.
Ooh.
And then they had an enclosure with wombats, and wombats are like furry bowling balls, basically, and they have huge heads. And I just sat there watching them in their enclosure where 2 of them were fighting, and they were just like charging at each other and headbutting each other like a bowling ball, like rolling up and down this hill, like violent is all hell. I couldn't believe how horrible these things were. And Australia is nuts, I stayed in a place called Byron Bay, which is at northern New South Wales. And north of there, they tell you about Queensland. That's where that guy Steve Irwin died, In the surf in Queensland, there's all these things that'll kill you. So they have like 20-foot long alligators in the surf. Those will kill you. They have 20-foot long great white sharks that'll kill you. They have man-o-war jellyfish, which have 10-meter-long tentacles. If you wrap around your leg, you have a nervous paralysis and you drown.
The man-o-war freaks me out. I did a report on that in elementary school. I'm still recovering.
And then they have sea wasps, which swim underwater and
Whoa,
sting
whoa, whoa.
you.
Wait.
Sea wasps.
Sea wasps.
Do you have a sound effect for that?
I have to. Hold on. That's a sea wasp.
Fear don't come I, no worries.
Sea wasp.
So these things will sting you, and you'll have paralysis and drown. And it's just like a tough place like that. And I have another funny story that I just told the other day. And I was staying at this little place near the beach in Byron Bay, which is a great place to visit. And one night I was out on the patio, and this cute little frog kind of hopped over to me. And I'm like, oh, hey, little frog. And it just kind of hopped over. Oh, cute little frog. And I put my hand out, and the thing like climbed in my hand. I picked him up, and I was like having him in my hands. And he's walking along my hands, this cute little frog. And I'm like, what a cute little frog. And I set him down, and he hopped off, you know.
Oh, no.
And the next day I told one of the neighbors, hey, there's this cute little friendly frog out here that hopped up to me. What kind of frog is that? And he goes, what did it look like? Well, it was like this little frog. What did it look like? I'm like, well, it was like, you know, little frog with little didn't have
Blotches of
stripes on it.
bright color on it?
Yeah, it was like yellow and green and black stripes. Did you touch it? Yeah, I held it in my hand. What do you mean you held it in your hand? And I held it in my hand. Like, it was like walking across my hands. He's like, it could kill you, this little frog. It's like the size of like, you know, a quarter.
So it just decided not to kill you.
I wasn't a threat, so I just feel really lucky that I wasn't
man.
killed by this poisonous frog in Australia.
I'm afraid to touch everything alive in Australia. Plants,
Right.
animals, none of it. When I was in elementary school, I had a substitute teacher that told the whole class that there was this like elementary school beach trip, and this like kid thought it would be funny to drop this gross jellyfish on this sunbathing girl, and he dropped it on her, and she just didn't move or react or anything, and it was a box jelly, and she immediately died, and I was
Jesus.
traumatized
Aw.
forever.
Fucking
Whoa.
Christ.
Why would you tell that to like fourth graders as a substitute? I guess maybe it was like 6th or 7th grade. I don't know. I'm still.
I was also in Byron Bay where they would have swarms of these blue bottle jellyfish, which are pretty small, wash up on the shore. So they'd have these high tides in Byron Bay, and these little jellyfish, they maybe had like, you know, foot-long tentacles, but they'd wash up on the shore. And I was there one day at the beach, and the waves are coming up to everyone's like beach blankets and towels and stuff. And like I remember like vividly this little girl that had like this blue bottle like wrap around her leg, and it's stinging her, and it hurts like a bee sting, you know, and she's crying for mommy, mommy, mommy. And
Nice.
the parents are like, shut up, you know, and they're like not noticing that the kid's got like jellyfish wrapped around its ankles. You
Man,
know?
you got to be tough
Yeah.
in Australia. I can't figure that out.
It's a great place.
Golly, it's safety first though.
Speaking of dangerous things in Australia,
Oh man, again?
there's
My shirt is
there's
gigantic.
apparently a tree
No
that,
way.
that stings with a venom comparable to certain varieties of cone snails and spiders.
Ouch.
And it's supposed to be extremely painful. It's called the Gimpy Gimpy tree.
Of course it is.
Yeah, exactly.
smoke it? Is it all right?
Apparently there's a few varieties of this tree. But yeah, because of course there's a tree that
Injects a spider-like venom.
Yeah.
Oh, why tree? Why?
But the good thing, they can also use this to maybe develop pain, because anything that like causes immense pain, they try to like reverse engineer it to make painkillers from.
Really?
Yeah, they do a lot of research on like powerful venoms to try to figure out like how it causes pain, so they can.
Those
Get that
spikes.
shit.
Sorry for us to dramatically pause there, but
Go for
the
it.
microscopic view of the spikes on this thing
Yeah, man.
are just horrific.
This segment's been brought to you by Travel Australia.
Right. Those look like like cactus spines, but just like microscopic. Probably hurt like a bitch.
My fingertip itches.
That looks like the inside of my refrigerator.
Oh,
I'm a bachelor.
Damn,
you know.
mine too.
burn
dog.
it. Push it over
Shit,
and
my pizza.
set on
That's
fire.
what my pizza looks like, man. I think it's going bad.
You guys, I pull that stuff out of there and eat it too quick. All my freezer looks like there's a bunch of brand new stuff in there for me gobbling it up. So there.
A podcaster in Las Vegas has discovered the cure for every disease known to man with something frozen in his refrigerator.
You two should lick the walls on the inside and see what happens.
It's 5G, man. It's cool.
New
Dude.
5G refrigerators.
So wait, you want a messed up 5G theory that I just came up with that I'm really proud of? So follow me here on this one. You know how radon is naturally occurring radiation that might be in your home, and they like check for it before you buy a place or can build on a property or whatever. So they found out that in places that there's very little naturally occurring radon, you actually have an increase of cancers because people's bodies aren't growing up with enough exposure to free radicals and having enough of this radiation from this Radeon ATI graphics card.
Brought to you by Radeon Graphics Technology.
Dude, stock in ATI right now, they're killing it. Intel's barely keeping up. Insider tip. So,
I'll take things that kill you in Australia for 25, please.
what was I saying? So, so the radon, okay. So the 5G makes you not have cancer because it toughens you up.
Really?
That's what I mean.
Will it save you in Australia?
Yeah, so if you have 5G in Australia, you're going to live to 110.
No. That's the only, if everything kills you in Australia, then 5G has to kill you only in Australia.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
AMD, not ATI. You literally can't have stock in ATI. AMD bought them like 10 years ago. I don't know what I'm talking about. AMD, y'all. Okay.
Same difference.
Yeah, Ryzen, you guys. That Ryzen situation. This guy's got Radeon. Right here. Holla. Make my AMD stock go up all.
I really liked
100
AMD's first album. I thought was the best one.
You guys, Robinhood will give you like a free stock. Not that Robinhood sponsors, they should now. I just want you to get Robinhood so you can like
one free stock.
Yeah, just throw $20 at an AMD stock just to raise my value, y'all.
They give you like any stock, or is it?
No, it's a raffle.
Oh.
It's like I got stock in like some random letters. It was probably a made-up company. I don't know. It's like free penny stock.
They're all made up.
Yeah, they're all made up.
You got like one of those Dungeons and Dragon die that has like a 26-sided die, and you just roll it a bunch of times to get an acronym, and then you invest in it.
That would be seriously better odds than people that we've legit fucked with. Yeah.
Or like practically anyone who says they know anything about investing.
Oh my gosh, can we tell again the money on the table story?
Where's the ka-ching sound?
Right here. That
All
one's
right.
literally my first button.
Money.
There's this
it's
guy.
gas.
We were working with someone that was selling day trading software with a program, and this guy would call and be like, "Why aren't you trading here? Why aren't you trading here?" Like every place the market turned, he's like, "You're just leaving money on the table. Why aren't you trading over here?" And it turned right here. Why didn't you just get in here? And then it did this thing. Like we didn't know it was gonna do that thing. It didn't have the other signs. It's like you're leaving money on the table.
Yeah, just couldn't wrap his head around it. Like looking at like how stocks moved after the fact.
Yeah.
Like doesn't help you predict what they're gonna do. Like of course you can look at something and be like, oh, I should have bought here and I should have sold here.
Especially with how common a dog's leg is, where it goes one way just as like a fake out. It's like a festival of fake outs.
Yeah, it was
I'm seriously
leaving money on the table, man.
I'm over intraday trading. Like I just leave it somewhere for a minute now. No offense. It's just I'd rather do media, y'all. Media time. Media
I'd
up.
rather do anything.
I'd rather do anything than stare at charts again.
So I got this good experiment. Apparently, because we have to know, researchers gave songbirds fentanyl.
Of course.
And it made them sing freeform jazz, quote
Whoa.
unquote.
Whoa. I have to like confirm
apparently they did this like experiment to try to establish like what the purpose of the bird songs were in the first place, and apparently they landed on that that's like their good mood time. So by doing some weird experiment by having them sing and then hop in a box, and then like every time they sang after that they went in the same box because they remembered that it made them happy. That's their guess. So then they did the experiment after giving them some dope.
Yeah, the hardest.
And those birds, they fucking loved that shit. And they started 3 pieces all over the place, dude.
Yeah, this guy's playing upright bass. You got
stand-up bass.
Yeah.
Dark-ass fucking shades.
Well, they're just like humans then, because it's an opiate, right? I mean,
yeah, totally.
Jazz musicians have played lots of music influenced by heroin. Same with rock and roll. Jimi Hendrix, who's died 50 years ago now. He was all into heroin.
Whoa,
Killed
heavy.
him.
It was a popular drug for a lot of people.
So did the Byrds play guitar like Jimi Hendrix?
Yeah, they like pecked at the same pentatonic scale.
Yeah.
8 miles high.
You should hear, dude, you should hear their national anthem, bro. Shit fucking shreds.
Oh man.
I just like.
How do you get that funded? How do you get
Dude,
Give
who-
Birds
like,
Drugs
first of all,
funded? Where do you
like-
get this Give Birds Drugs research? I want to work at this lab.
The researchers were like, I wonder if the researchers were like doing the research on themselves.
I guarantee
Like
that's
first of all, like some dude thought of this, and I thought it was a good enough idea to pitch it to a colleague, and that person thought it was a good enough idea to like go up the next step and try to get funding.
someone wrote a grant paper.
A few
on,
iterations of that, yeah.
We got to give birds like the hardest shit.
Right.
We got like the stuff we have the biggest epidemic of this. What does it do to birds?
Right.
Just send them to Australia, man.
I know. All the stuff in Australia needs opiates.
Right.
Calm that
Is
stuff
like
down.
Australia the only place where fentanyl won't kill you? That's how it works.
Yeah, you have to give people like 4 times the dose there because they're all immune.
Right.
Australian crocodiles are playing jazz on fentanyl.
Man.
With killer robots.
Right. Just about like everything in Australia also injects you with fentanyl.
Oh,
Enough so that you OD.
Well, they'd have better jazz music if that was true.
Right.
Yeah, where's that
Can
Australian
you name any
jazz?
Australian jazz music?
Whoa.
They had good new wave bands, like NXS and Midnight Oil and
Oh yeah.
Men at Work.
You know, Ben Folds did a collaboration with the West Australian Orchestra, WASO. It's sick. Check it out. Opera, not orchestral Ben Folds, but he's like singing on it.
Is that the one where he like makes up a song on the spot with the orchestra?
I'm almost sure that happens in it at some point. I don't know
Yeah.
why I don't remember.
It's pretty legit.
I get that one confused with the one where he also started doing like Omegaly or some kind of random video chat thing at a show. So like you could be doing like the random chat roulette or something like that.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And you randomly get video feeds, but half the time it's someone wanking it.
Yeah, yeah.
He did that on stage, and these people would pop up, and he'd cycle through a few. And then imagine that you're sitting and you're cycling through that stuff, and all of a sudden it's like a live arena audience, and Ben Folds directing
That would
them
be
to
pretty-
yell stuff
yeah.
at you.
Be pretty trippy.
Yeah, that's a mind situation. That's a one of those. Yeah.
I have
Yeah.
a weird confession to make.
Do it.
All right.
Earlier today, I was at home. For the very, very first time in my life, I shaved my armpits.
How do you feel?
Well, it was crazy because it's been really hot here in Las Vegas, right? And I was convinced I had horrific heat rash on my armpits. And I'd started developing these little dreadlocks.
Cool.
But they were pulling on my arms. I thought I had this weird rash, and then I realized I had these like weird clumps of hair that were growing together. So I'm like, I'm done with this.
So what deodorant made that come together? It's like beeswax deodorant.
I don't know, man. I'm just getting old, you know? I'm getting old, and my armpit hair is like getting...
Dreads out? There was
yeah,
an age for that?
I thought it was the rash from the heat. It's been hot here in Las Vegas.
Oh, man. Is there a blood test for armpit dreads?
I don't know,
Do you-
man.
do you
I
have
had it in
MRI?
both armpits, man.
Can I get like a genetic test to see if I have that marker?
That's how you know it's supposed to happen if it happens to both. That's why you have 2 armpits, because if it happens to
Right.
just once, you can like compare results of the 2.
Yeah, and then
That's
that,
when
if
you
like
know.
one's bad, you can just like hack that one off.
Yeah.
You still got one.
And it was so dumb. I just thought I had heat rash on my armpits, you know, because it's
Totally.
been hot here. We
Oh,
just
yeah.
we had 61 days in a row of triple-digit temperatures. We just broke the record for days in a row with no measurable rain. It's what 151 days or something like that.
Yeah, and every
Fuck,
year
man.
we break the record for highest temperature here in the last
And
like
everywhere.
12 years. Yeah. It's just like it's an uncanny trend.
Is that why I got my armpit dreads?
Yeah, it's because we got to start moving up
Big
into the
climate.
atmosphere here. Here on Vegas, what are we doing all this on the surface?
It's almost
got-
as hot as Venus, right?
Yeah, there's all kinds of great atmosphere up there. We could live up there. What are we doing? It's money on the table.
Well, I was wondering if like
It's free real estate.
if we're gonna send anything to Venus before Earth turns into Venus.
Yeah,
No.
it's like a practice Venus right above there.
That's a practice
All right. We
Totally.
can just wait until we turn Earth into Venus, and then we won't have to send anything to Venus.
Boom, handled.
Yeah.
All the animals from Australia, we'll just send them there.
Yeah, it's free real estate, you guys.
Free real estate.
Free real estate.
Oh, fuck.
It's money on the table. So is it Bob Thornton hour?
It is.
Speaking of money on the table, holla
Cha-ching.
Bob.
Been trying to get rid of your stubborn belly fat, but it doesn't want to leave you? Or maybe you want to get that extra ripped look. Now you can reach your goals the keto way. Ketosis is the metabolic state where your body burns fat for energy. And the best way to turn your body into a fat-burning, weight-losing machine is with Advanced Keto Plus. And right now, for our radio listeners only, you can get 2 bottles free when you order 2 bottles. You get to try out keto at our best discount ever. Plus, call now and we will also send you a free 28-day meal plan keto ebook with your first order. Burn your stubborn belly fat and get ripped today the keto way. Call right now to order. Buy 2 bottles for only $49.99 each and get 2 bottles free.
800-417-2119. 800-417-2119.
I am a non-attorney spokesperson representing a team of lawyers who help people that have been injured or wronged. If you've been involved in a serious car, truck, or motorcycle accident or injured at work, you have rights, and you may be entitled to money for your suffering. Don't accept an offer you get from an insurance company until you talk to a lawyer. And we represent some of the best personal injury lawyers you can find. Tough lawyers that will fight to win your case. And they're so good they stake their reputation on it by only getting paid if you win. So if you've been in a serious car, truck, or motorcycle accident or hurt on the job, find out today for free what kind of compensation you may be entitled to. Call the legal helpline right now.
800-507-3114. 800-507-3114. 800-507-3114. That's 800-507-3114.
Your new favorite internet radio station, RadioVegas.rocks.
So, we're back. It's greasyconversation.com. Man, don't you hate when people start everything with so? Like so. Like
It's a
landing
habit.
page. Here's my funnel. Click funnel. Excuse me.
Wow.
Yeah, there's a rule in the show. If you have to burp, you have to aim it away from the mic and also like yell in pain. Ooh, you're pointing at me.
Disqualified.
If you had it that on call, you need to point at the echo lever so I get some
okay, next time.
Yeah. So it's one or the other. My theory is that when you scream during a burp and it sounds like it's in pain, someone that would have been grossed out will then pity you, and you get more subs and likes. So Greasy Conversation is the name of the show you're listening to. I just have a couple quick disclaimers. First of all, I know the saturation is pegged. It looks like candy for the eyes. I love saturation. Get used to it. Second of all, I know my shirt's too big. It's what happened. I didn't shrink it yet, so I'm going to look different levels of fat. But I promise I've actually lost weight recently. So there. On that disclaimer is over, I have for you guys a special first ever. We're in our 5th season. We're still innovating and doing new things with the show. Hype it. Tell friends. Greasy Conversation. Have them check out the new podcast by us, Dirty Window, with Brian Gibson and Tiffany Salerno. Also at greasyconversation.com. But right now, the long-awaited interview with Recycled Propaganda, as I was saying, getting towards, this is a first time that we've done really an interview, a pre-recorded thing, or something like this segment. So bear with us. We're going to try it out. We're going to try to be like Neil deGrasse Tyson, his podcast that we think is so cool. By we, I mean me specifically. Sorry to lump you guys in. So I'm going to bring up this interview and show you guys a slideshow on the video feed of some pictures I took while I was there. And we'll stop it and chat at some point. So I'm rolling it in. Oh, okay. A little prequel to this interview I just now remembered. I cold opened this interview. So I started talking with him with the question of, how do you feel about the fact that a lot of your work, a lot of your artwork is sort of anti-capitalist, yet you're selling things? And he immediately pointed out to me the answer I already had in my head is the fact that nothing is that black and white. You can be against what capitalism has become and still be for capital and not think we should get rid of capital. You can be against certain isms and not say we don't need that thing.
Yeah.
We're still people and we still need commerce without making things over commercialized. So that was his main point, is that when you're talking about things, like he was even saying, okay, the origins of Amazon aren't evil, but what it's become is accidentally it's becoming something that's hurting other business and needs to be looked at, that things get out of control and things need like a second look. But it doesn't mean that like small business and like responsible commerce can't still be a thing. So it's just like question stuff. Don't take anything from him as a specific statement, one extreme or the other. Just like give these things a second thought. And that's where he's starting to go as I just start rolling the recording to kind of soft, bring it in.
But
Yeah.
the level that it's gone to these days is just
Cold open, I'm starting it early. I didn't bring my good recorder, I'll use my phone, it's got a good mic.
no, that's fine.
So that's crazy because it's something that was on my mind, this whole idea of how people want to say that like because this is bad, everything like that is bad, when really
Right.
there can be gradients in like a level of something that's good.
Yeah, and criticism of capitalism, people are very confused, and because I do a lot of stuff that questions globalism and capitalism, people say, well, aren't you globalist because you ship around the world, or capitalist because you sell stuff? No, those philosophies are fixated and pivoted around that sole function, right? I'm
Yeah.
not saying that capital shouldn't exist, but it shouldn't be the only thing that exists. That's what capitalism is.
For sure.
That's what globalism is, everything should be everywhere. And it just ruins all the uniqueness in small business and locally owned business. A locally owned business employs exactly the same free market capitalist principles as Amazon. So the principles aren't the issue, it's the implementation. And when you dig deeper, you realize that we're not really even in a capitalist society, it's a crony capitalist society. So the small people pay their way, but the big people don't, because they have so much leverage over the government.
That cronyism and that control over it that doesn't let it be fair and fair play for smaller players is such an important point.
Well, and it's confusing to people because then, we need regulation to make it fair, but then regulation isn't free market capitalism. So that's the sort of catch-22 that pro-capitalists are caught in, that regulation doesn't exist already. Are you crazy? It obviously does. We've gone down that rabbit hole. So, yeah.
What do you see as the solution besides awareness and people getting more involved?
Yeah, I think awareness at the root level of where you spend your money actually can be very powerful.
So we can start voting with our dollar,
right?
Knowing what we're doing.
And the point that I want to make is we're so bad that let's just do anything and it's going to be better. And people are obsessed with let's find the perfect system. No, it's never going to exist. Let's just do better, like with the environment. Wow, fracking's not going to solve the cars on the road. All right, but it's a start. And it's some of the worst industries or the worst parts about some
That's a great
industries.
point. Like chip away, make it better. It doesn't have to be this one solution we'll never get that solves everything.
But that also does sound the rationale for voting for Biden too. So we'll get there eventually.
Yeah.
The whole philosophy is get him in office and then we'll change his mind. Right. Because that's how it fucking works.
Yeah. It also bothers me how there's things like trickle-down economics that have been proven false economically as a untrue principle, yet still get preached and decisions get made on it just because it sounds real.
Well, I think the gut reason that these big corporations exist is because of jobs. They do create jobs, and that is a great political tool, and canvassing tool is job creation. So if you're coming into a town as Amazon and creating 10,000, 30,000 jobs, people see that and they're like, wow, they are making a difference. But the question you've got to ask yourself is, opposed to what? You know what I mean? What else could we be doing? And I think Amazon, by and large, came about because realtors were doing such a poor job online. And I think everybody's kind of caught up to that now. For instance, half the stuff you buy on Amazon go directly to the manufacturer, like Stash for tea or whatever it is. You can buy it for the same price, probably cheaper, and it's free shipping, and Amazon don't take a big chunk. So it's just simple stuff like that. Sure, still use it if you can't get it anywhere else, but if you're buying a paper or a paintbrush or spray paint, go to directly to the manufacturer kind of.
Yeah, so we're not abusing that middleman privilege of being
right, but the middleman came there for a reason, because you couldn't, that 10, 20 years ago, there wasn't anywhere online to do it.
Oh.
You couldn't buy 98% of stuff off the manufacturer directly.
It's a balanced view. It's like you're saying that like its whole origin wasn't necessarily evil, but things get out of hand.
Right. Yeah, and a lot of it's driven by consumer behavior,
Mhm.
and consumer behavior is driven by knowledge and understanding of issues. That's where I come in. So I don't have to like explain or give to you the best solution, but let's just suggest that this may be not the right way.
And make people question. And
Yeah.
when did this making people question with your art begin for you?
I think when I was raised as an artist, and my mom was an artist, and my sister's an artist. The idea of questioning and ambiguity is entrenched in what art even is and the definition of art. And I think I take it to a social and political angle because of the time we live in. Is, you know, there's a lot of fucked up shit that's happening. But I think the under sort of lying amazing thing about art is the interpretation, and it can be viewed in multiple ways. And I think really that's what we're lacking these days too. Everything's too myopic or black and white and wrong and right, and the real answer to every political issue isn't this or that, you know.
Whoa, mics are too quiet. You guys, any thoughts so far?
I mean, there's a lot to unpack there, and I actually know Izaac. He's a friend of mine. So to go all the way back to the beginning, you know, talking about capitalism, it's really an issue of free enterprise. So Izaac has an art gallery, Recycled Propaganda, on South Main Street here in Las Vegas, and I've actually bought art there. I've actually sold a piece of art there. I've done shows there. I've played music there. And free enterprise means that Izaac has the right to create work out of thin air. He's an artist, and sell it, and he makes his living that way. And I want to live in a society where that is encouraged and welcome. And you could say it's capitalist. He finds like discarded trash and then spray paints art on it and then sells it for a profit. So he is in theory a capitalist. So free enterprise is a great thing. So the distinction that a lot of people don't understand when they criticize capitalism as a whole, and a distinction I always like to make, is that there's capitalism and there's corporatism. And Izaac did talk about...
Nice point. He does use that term, corporatism, yeah.
So, yeah, and he speaks a lot, and he had a Corporate Spy, an artist called Corporate Spy, doing a show.
Excellent plug. That's going on. There's more than one thing at this exposition on Main Street in Charleston that you should check out, and they're super friendly just to come in and take a peek, even if you don't pick something up. There's cheap stickers and prints, so it's easy to spend a couple bucks and help them out.
And you can find them on social media, and if you're listening from anywhere in the world, they sell amazing stickers that have great sort of political messages about the role of corporatism in society. But the point I was going to make is that capitalism, like if you're a small family and you have like a food truck or a small restaurant, you're buying rice and preparing it and selling it at a higher price, that's technically capitalism. And I would like to think that I would live in a society where a family could have a business preparing food and not be hated for being, you know, horrible and evil. So the distinction then between capitalism and corporatism, corporation is a government-granted charter and license. And Izaac talked about how people push so much for regulations. And when you create a regulated society, what happens is that the heads of those corporations start becoming part of the rulemaking process, and then they force out competitors. And look at like what Monsanto's done with lobbying and with Congress people and the rules and all that sort of thing. So, you know, there's a difference between, say like you make, you know, a hit cell phone or a cool pair of jeans or some cool music. People will stand out in the rain to get that thing the day it comes out. And then corporatism's different. That's a company like Raytheon that makes weapons that kill people. No one's standing in line in the rain at sunrise to like donate money to Raytheon at the mall, you know. But Raytheon, you know, takes in billions and billions and billions of dollars in government contracts to kill and maim people. And then that's corporatism. That's a different thing. So
10 times the spending of like any other nation's government on defense.
Right.
Like who are we defending on if no one's spending it like we do?
So I mean, you know, a company like Apple, you can say all kinds of awful things about them, but they make, you know, cell phones and laptops that we're all using and people like, you know, and that's, you know, I'm glad they do that. You know, like I was just to pull in a Burning Man thing, I was a good friend with Larry Harvey, and I spoke at an event in San Francisco with him, and it was, you know, in San Francisco at the time, you know, corporations were seen as evil, and Larry goes, no, they're not. Do you want to mill the rubber for your own tires? Do you want to like make the motherboard for your laptop? Go ahead and solder the thing together. It's better to have some other organization have all of that effort, and then you're empowered by having those tires available, so you don't have to mold the freaking thing yourself in your backyard. So you don't
Yeah.
have to. And Woz, of course, would solder together his own circuit boards for a laptop. But
I
I mean,
would, but you know what? 90% of the time, the stuff you see I built, I bought modules online and soldered the modules together because I'm not about to do surface mount. I'm not about to do SMD without a clean room or a microscope. Come on now. So the SMD, I outsource that. It's just like you're saying. I'll use modules, design a PCB, shapeways, that kind of thing, and have it come back and just do the DIP stuff. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. It takes a village.
But Isaac's body of work plays heavily on corporate imagery and all that sort of thing. So we're looking at some of these images now. And again, check out Recycled Propaganda on social media. They're very big on Twitter and Instagram. And I'll just say, that's one of my pictures. The skull there is my artwork.
Oh, yeah?
So I've done some minor collaborations with Izaac.
Yeah, this piece that's on the screen right now has got Ted involved also. It's his skull in the upper right. Love it. Yeah, I've seen some... what do you call it when something's pasted on the wall?
Wheat paste.
I've seen some sweet wheat paste stuff up on the south part of the north part of the strip, the downtown part of the strip. So hip, Arts District, shout out, Greasy Conversation.
And if I could do a plug, I do have a show in the Arts District on Friday, October 2nd at Saturation Gallery. It's right by Recycled Propaganda in the world-famous Arts Factory at Charleston near South Main. So October 2nd, I'm showing a new collection of works, including skulls, collaborations with Justin Lepper and Jem Jacks, who are there at the gallery. So October 2nd.
Love Jem Jacks. October 2nd, Jem Jacks. She's been on the show too. All you have to do is use the search box at the bottom of the website, greasyconversation.com, GEM. You'll find her episode. She's amazing. And seriously, any more Art District folk, hit me up. You get priority hype on this podcast. The Arts District is like something that we grew from and something we want to hype bonus extra. So, Greg, any thoughts before I move on with Izaac?
No, because I'll just bitch about capitalism forever. I think Ted covered it pretty well, so.
Just so funny. I like that balance with Greg and I because, in the end, we both want a balance of socialism and capitalism, done right and not done like the mayhem that people have associated with both of those words, that we talk with different friends that we both love and agree with 90% of their opinions. They just lean one way or the other, and it's turned them radically having a bad taste in their mouth for one or the other. And I'm like, look, I worried about both, but I feel like I need a chunk of both. So
well, I feel like part of the problem, and my biggest issue with any type of political or social discourse, is the language is so muddied by the people who it benefits. So that's why when someone talks, you want to criticize any aspect of capitalism, it's you're criticizing the way the world works, and the world is working great. America's the richest country on the planet, even though all that money's not going to everyone.
Which is so funny because our median income or what our middle class looks like is far from the best in the world.
Yeah, well, the median income in the U.S. I think is 60 to 70K a year, but we also have a lot of billionaires that pull that.
Yeah, that's the thing is
really far.
You can't just take an average, and I always mess this up with the mean, median, all that stuff. But the way you average things can make it look like you've got this big old middle class when you don't. You just have a bunch of rich people swaying the numbers and making that gorgeous, chubby GHB. You know what I mean?
Did you invest in that stock?
All day. Since the beginning, man.
The GDP situation looks all good, but what's with our underemployment? Just because unemployment's looking good, but then the freaking level of people, their life level. Boy, terms are not with me on this.
Fracking? You said fracking. Freaking?
That's yeah. Izaac even brings up fracking in this interview. Let me go forward while I'm all jumbly. Here we go. Wow, it's so refreshing to hear, and such a running theme in the Greasy Conversation show that this chunk is going to run in, that people on either side of anything that has sides want to just make a thing black and white. so they don't have to put the labor into finding a real balance and finding real peace
and
and
to
truth
me
in
it's
things.
got even worse than that. It's not even about, all right, capital punishment, yes or no. Okay, immigration, yes or no. It's about, you have to think these collection of ideas or you're ostracized from that group.
That's another point, yeah. You can't even mix and match your own feelings.
No, you can't even be
yeah.
like, yeah, I fucking love guns, but we're also killing the environment. You know?
Yeah, that's a common one too. That I feel like so many people feel not fitting into either one from that particular combo.
Right, and I know a lot of liberal people that do like guns, and this
Mm.
is America. They, you know, there is a different relationship than a lot of other like Western countries with guns.
And likewise, I've heard a lot of conservative voices on RadioVegas.rocks that are really balanced, and they just feel more a certain way and want to reconcile that with other people that likewise feel the opposite, but we can come together and make compromises that work with both of our feelings.
Right, or even further than that, realizing that people's views are directly consequential of the experiences that they've had up to this point.
Oh, that's a major good point.
You know?
Yeah. Like you've had different experiences, so you might be more conservative and you might be more liberal because of your different experiences.
Like immigration. Why? Oh, your parents or grandparents were immigrants. The irony with the immigration one is so many people are vehemently against it, and 1 or 2 generations ago they were fucking immigrants.
I know, especially it hurts my feelings in this country with the history of its success being based on immigration.
Right.
It was
yeah.
literally like the hinge pin of what it was an example to the other nations for.
Yeah. Yeah, and the founding principle of getting away from tyranny and doing what you like. So,
yeah, and literally allowing everyone to make this greater together.
Yeah. Tyranny comes full circle, I guess.
Right? Excellent point. So tell us a little bit about how long this gallery is going to be going on here.
So we've been open about 1.5 years, and the exhibition that's just recently opened is called Truth to Power, and it features stuff that's kind of surrounding social injustice, Black Lives Matter movement, and it's featuring Laurent MC. He's an artist based in Vegas. You should definitely go check his work out. He's got some beautiful like portraiture, Afro-centric portraiture.
Could you say his name again slower?
Laurent MC.
Cool. Do you know how to spell that by chance?
So Laurent is Laron, and then MC EMCEE.
Oh, okay.
MC. Like
okay.
he used to be a rapper.
Perfect. Cool. I want to make sure I can go to
and
that
then
later.
in the back is Mowgli. He used to live in Vegas and now he's based in Baltimore, and his Instagram's Mowgli Art.
Powerful Mowgli.
He's been doing a series of Black Lives Matter murals around Baltimore and Washington DC.
Cool.
So he's done like 10, 12 of this image, but huge
Awesome.
out there. So we're trying to get him to come for the closing, but we'll see.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad he was able to make an appearance for it. So what do you see as the future of this gallery?
Yeah, I think that, you know, in uncertain times, people have been asking me how the gallery's doing, and I say to them, you know, we're used to not making money, so we're doing okay. And it's like very cynical look, but it's kind of true. We used to, you know, low frequency, a few people in at a time. So from that aspect, there hasn't been, you know, people been put off coming here. We've obviously stopped doing the events and the music stuff, so that's a shame, but that will start back again soon. And the future is really just doing more shows and being open and representing the Vegas art community. I think now that the events have been taken away from us, there's more and more need to sort of pedestal the arts.
So, I don't know if that was too awkward of a place. Let me, hold on.
There's less avenue to display them, and even me, when this first all happened, you know, probably 30% of my income is from events.
So like Las Vegas, we're so involved in like needing events and art, and like the avenues, the places where artists and creators and content creators can work in have been severely limited with the amount of events that we can't do in physical locations that we can't work in. Right after we just barely are getting our first historic tastes of being able to live and perform online. And the streaming is so young and fresh that a lot of people don't have access to it. A lot of people don't have anything already started outside of a physical location to reach people. So that's a serious thing. Also, quick shout out to Ange Kerfoot, who has a piece in the gallery too that I've got on screen right now. Her piece is a mannequin in a Girl Scouts uniform, and there's all kinds of little details about it that might make you question how gigantic, extremely wealthy nonprofit might be getting involved or not in times when they might be really important. And just give that some thought.
What was the mannequin's name?
Nancy.
Nancy, that's right.
Yeah, so you can see more from Nancy on Instagram if you look up Ange Kerfoot on there too. So any thoughts also on what Izaac was talking about?
No, I mean, I generally agree with the dude. He's a smart dude.
Isaac's my friend. He's brilliant. I want to comment on something you said, Waz, where you're talking about events online and how it's new and all of that. And, you know, I come from a pretty solid tech background that goes back, you know, quite some time, actually. And I remember in the early 90s, I was at a trade show called the Digital World in Los Angeles. And I met a bunch of early tech luminaries, and I was part of the production team there. And there was a bunch of interviews going on. And one of the older people, they asked them about the idea of, you know, live streams. And, you know, I played earlier on this podcast, or I live streamed as a musician here. But in the early 90s, you know, there was an elder there that I learned a lot from, and he was saying that they asked him, you know, how important these live streams would be for musicians, like, you know, people like Herbie Hancock that embrace technology. And then this older gentleman who is from India says, well, they're no good. And they're all, well, why? And he says, there's no prana. And prana is this Hindu concept of energy or breath or air or spirit, and you can call it whatever you want, like an aura or whatever. So, you know, Waz, you and I have played shows here in Las Vegas to a live audience. When you play to a live audience, there's this amazing amount of energy in the room, and you're feeling their energy, you're seeing their faces, you're seeing them dancing, you're seeing them walk out of the room if you're, you know, flopping on your face or whatever. Like, there's this sort of accountability to an audience when you're doing a live performance. I mean, when music with no audience is called rehearsal. It's not a show, you know? So when you have an audience, there's particles that are flying through the air that we're all sharing, that are all part of all of our bodies, and there's all this tremendous amount of energy, and that stuff does not go over the phone, you know? And so, you know, I was here playing this show earlier, and I brought my full subwoofer and sound stack and PA and stuff, and was playing full volume here earlier on the show, and I was feeling it, but, like, you know, this magic doesn't come over the phone.
Can I give you a thought on that, though?
Sure, please.
On one hand, though, lots of stuff doesn't go through the phone because the bandwidth of phones so narrow. That's, you know, part of why, like, all the Zoom talk when people don't have the audio level very high. It's already a bummer hearing like super compressed audio, and at least we've got like a higher bit rate and the music's coming through in a way that it just can't unless your system's going to bump it. There's no way to avoid some compression, but all that's technical. I feel like what you're talking about with the human presences in the event, I feel like we're also being a little black and white here, because while nothing can be like being in an arena with a band and like thousands of people, there's something special that happens in like a basement session when you can get even a handful. Like there's stand-up comedians, for example, that play theaters to say 2,000 to 3,000 that love the special thing that can happen when they play at a venue that's like 3 to 500, and you shrink it down like that. And while it's there for less people, they can kind of personalize more and have more intimacy with them. And I feel like you get a smaller crowd like that and then throw some cameras in, and you might get a little bit of a sweet spot. Even the difference between cameras, lonely person, and cameras and like half a dozen friends, I think adds a little bit more of that piranha, some more of that piranha, some more of that prawn, some more of that gumbo. And so if you really want to turn up the gumbo, if we can do some small streams with some small groups, maybe that's like a nice medium future where something Joe Rogan mentioned is, while being live at a stand-up show, there's nothing like it that's going to get 100% of that. If you do a special right, you might get 60 to 70% of that energy. And that 60 to 70%, although it's not ideal, it's also lasting in a way that being there in person is unideal, because it only exists in that moment. It's completely hindered by the fourth dimension, where something is timeless and immortal if you can at least save that 60 to 70% with a dope stream.
I don't mean to show up on your podcast dissing podcasts.
No. This is a really important thing that I want people to bring up so that I can debunk it. It's like that 5G danger hype. I want to talk about how important and how vital streaming and recording and the new journaling and the new media situation can be in the wake of all this, so we don't just wallow over what it can't do as well and embrace the dawn of the recording age that we're in a new version of. It's people had all these same thoughts and discussions when music could finally be recorded and played back on the radio, not live. In the early days of broadcasting, to be able to record something was a luxury. We were able to communicate across the nation before we were able to really save much of it.
Yeah.
So
a great story like that, I've been really influenced by the work of the late Miles Davis, and I've never had the chance to see him. So the only way I can experience Miles Davis is through the recordings, or, things like I saw this YouTube interview he did in the 80s toward the end of his life. And the television presenter is asking him, Miles, you did this incredible landmark album in the late 50s during the bebop era. It's called such and such. And what are your thoughts on that album? And Miles is like, it's horrible. Well, what do you mean, Miles? He's like, you weren't there. Well, but this album's super important. It sold millions of copies. It changed the world. It's an important part of jazz. He's like, it's all just to get you to come to the show. So Miles knew that there was this incredible magic of being there in the moment. But now that he's gone, that's the only way you can experience him.
it's a crazy thought, and it really aggravates me because the same person that says, oh, you should have come to a show, it's all about coming to the show, is the same person that died before I was born. I never heard of them.
Right.
Or they've got a couple epic pieces, and you're leaving all kinds of people that are also valuable that you haven't met yet in the dark on some real juice,
There is an intense emotional power still to being in person. This is the first.
But just because you lose a certain percentage of that recorded doesn't mean that I can't encourage everyone to record your bullshit. Take some journaling of it, because even if it's as you get old and nostalgic, you're going to want to have help remembering it. Memory is impermanent, and in fact, we see the past through rose-colored glasses. It's an undeniable psychological principle that when you look back on the past, you see it happier, better than it actually was when you made those memories. And that's just cheating on these performances, that you should see the growth and the rough edges and think it was so much better live because you think everything in the past is better. This is what really happened. Sometimes better isn't real. Sometimes it's worth having that recording of the real freaking thing, the real crime that went down for the art, the real crime scene of this art. So that's why I get journalistically passionate about it.
I thought you made a great point earlier that, maybe the goal is to create these amazing happenings and experiences where there are real people having these real moments, but then at the same time, do your best to document them so those are historically shared and appreciated by people that couldn't, be there in person.
Love it. That's a great bow to put on that chunk as we go into continuing a little bit more.
That had nothing to do with
So,
what you said,
and I had all these national art festivals arranged all summer.
Mm-hmm.
But 2 years ago, I was solely dependent on events. So I was very glad that I do have the brick and mortar, at least to, display and, showcase stuff.
And also, it makes a great location for streaming events, which I feel are going to be a powerful transition into live events being able to grow again, because you can have anyone from an audience of 0 to a couple people, just to give it a bit of an audience and a feel for the people watching.
Well,
still reach a lot of people.
And the good thing here is we're a small venue, so you're already allowed to do gatherings under 50. Mm-hmm. So 50, 100 is the occupancy here anyway.
Great.
So we're more waiting for the zeitgeist of people to change that want to come and participate in events, because I think that's definitely has been waning,
For sure, and feeling guilty about my other media industry people that are more on the performance end and really kneecapped by this. I'm really looking for ways to team up with people like you and people with spaces that can be used for little streaming events, and starting to plant seeds for that to get some of those.
And I think a good part of the whole lockdown is that people in creative industries that work for industry So like they are doing a creative job, but they're for an industry, have been given this time to explore maybe their own creativity and ideas. So I think that the end goal of that, if you specifically look at music, and I was thinking like how much music's been produced, probably more than any other time in human history. So everyone's just fucking at home with nothing to do, and if you're into doing that stuff, like the number of designs that I pumped out was way more, because not only is it inspirational time, it's like got time on my hands, I've got nothing else to do. So I think that we're going to see an uptick from that culturally, that people don't like to try and quantify cultural production. They only think in terms of stock market or polls or whatever.
Which is another shame, because it really enriches like a people and how well they can do everything. And there's more to life than the money number.
But I've seen both sides of it. I've seen people in industry that have been given this great opportunity and haven't done anything. You know, so
for sure.
It's, I guess, what point in life in your career you're at, if you're like autonomous is a big thing. It takes a lot of years to be able to work for yourself and have the discipline to do that.
Wow,
so
if
you're not ready mentally, and you're suddenly given money and time, you're not going to know how to use that.
That's
so I've
true.
again been
you wouldn't know your own workflow.
Exactly, or how to structure yourself, or what even to wake up for, you know. Or why if you're not getting paid.
Oh my gosh. You're giving me flashbacks. That's why I'm like tripping, like, oh my god.
Whereas when you work for yourself, all those things are already answered.
For sure.
And for me, really, the work never stopped. As soon as we locked down, I went and painted 12 murals in 2 weeks, you know. So that was very much to stay sane from my point of view, but it was still more relaxing than it would have been if, you know, real life had happened.
I see another lesson in that too, in the keeping doing it, because there's people that are shutting down, and the kind of person that when things get weird and get hard just keeps doing what makes them them as their thing to do. There's something admirable to that, and that goes places.
And you never get the opportunity to fucking practice, or like, okay, well, and especially with all the bills and stuff being frozen, it's like, well, I don't really have overheads. Not that a lot of them did, but you know what I mean. There was assistance.
Well, do you feel like there's any cap you want to put on the jar in this little discussion?
No, not really. We're open every day, 12 till 6, and on Saturdays until 8 p.m. And this exhibition, which is called Truth to Power, will be running until Halloween. So Halloween will be the closing day
of this expedition, and then does the building close till it sets up for another one?
No, we transition it, so it'll be like a week of turnaround, but we'll trickle it around. So we are always open every day.
Just for reference, we're on Main Street, and it's
Main and Charleston.
Boom.
Yeah,
on the corner.
And then the next show, which is going to run from November to the end of the year, is going to be called Gender Bias, and we're going to be exploring sort of gender issues within that show.
Cool. I'd love to see your graphics on all kinds of stuff with that. This is going to be a sexy one. Okay, so back to you guys in the studio. Thank you, me. So there we go. It keeps playing into some of my stupid notes, because this is the same thing I take music notes on. Feels like piece of bad blues and F, it says, is my musical note. And so any thoughts as I'm like derailing it with my talking about my phone notes?
Don't forget to visit recycledpropaganda.com. That's 1114 South Main Street, Suite 120, Las Vegas, Nevada, 89104.
You want to throw some other S. Preston Esquires, Greg? Quick one, don't go away.
You're home. You're a diabetic. You need supplies, but you don't want to visit the pharmacy. What do? Call US Med for home delivery of your supplies. If you have diabetes and you're worried about going to a crowded pharmacy, pick up the phone in the safety and comfort of your home and let US Med deliver them to you with free shipping. And now if you test your blood sugar 4 more times a day and inject insulin 3 or more times a day, you may qualify to get a new continuous glucose monitor at little or no cost, which may eliminate the pain of pricking your fingers and helps you make smarter diabetes decisions. Plus, we'll send you a 90-day supply and bill your insurance company for you. Get some peace of mind. Call US Med today.
800-451-4785. 800-451-4785. That's 800-451-4785.
Be sure to get your mix of music. Listen to us with the RadioVegas.rocks app available at the App Store. And check out our VIP card, interact with us in our chat room, and scheduling of our RadioVegas.rocks shows, plus podcasts. It's all available on RadioVegas.rocks app.
And we're back. You're listening to Greasy Conversation, a very special Pandy episode going out to you all pandying up, and going out especially to all of the people involved in live entertainment. This city has been gradienting towards good, honest live entertainment from the gambling for a while. And now this is hugely in the way. And it's not just the famous names on the billboard you might consider good to go, but it's their whole staff. Each of these employs camera people, concierges, all these people that are like vulnerable in their employment and already barely getting by. So much of that middle class we're crying over, that's like our peers here in entertainment and our family. So we just really want to send our like hope and love to you, and hope that what we're doing here can help hype that stuff that gets you paid again, so you can keep working in entertainment where you belong. On that note, I'm like hanging from this mic stand. This is so fun. I can swing around from this.
It's like a gym, huh?
Yeah, so let's get you into RadioVegas.rocks. We want to amplify your voice here and help all y'all get back to work and entertainment in ways that I haven't figured out beyond just morning yet and stuff. Letting you know, hang in there. We're thinking of you.
Yeah.
So, what can we do in this last like 5-6 minutes to kind of tie a bow on things? Or there's other cool news that we didn't mention that you can also check out on greasyconversation.com. We've got links to all this. It turns out humans may have cooked food before fire, and guess where? Do you have any guesses?
5G.
I know because
that early 5G. You know.
Venus
is doing it. They held it up to Venus.
Yeah, the cavemen would send rockets to Venus to cook the food.
They did those solar ovens,
Yeah.
right? If it was solar ovens and they had like reflective stuff before fire to cook food, that would have boggled my mind. But it turns out humans might have cooked food in hot springs.
Yep.
There's evidence of cooked food in humans' guts before fire.
This motherfucker's boiling hot dogs.
Which really strengthens the I love that joke about it. Like the idea that we might have gotten extra like brain nutrition from cooking food to be able to get stuff done special. Like we were the cooking animal. But there's other things we did as far as planning for the future and growing more malleable brains and longer gestation periods that sets us apart. We did a lot of power moves that the other monkeys and birds slept on. So, wait, one more. There we go. We're just gonna keep doing that toward the tail end.
We got 5 minutes of this, right?
Wait, one more really low one. There we go. Now I'm satisfied. That's how
Angry
we set it
Birds
up.
2020.
We
There we
just
go.
get it offensive until everyone leaves. That's how we tie the button on it.
Put your headphones
you
on.
guys
We'll do
can
it
leave
again.
now.
Oh, let's really quick show them the real Akira bike.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to get to.
Nice.
So this Russian designer, it doesn't. I mean, it looks kind of like similar. It looks more like a Tron.
Like a
The
Tron, like a
bike?
light bike. Like
Yeah, it
light
looks more like a light bike.
cycle.
Holy crap!
That
this
is a
another
light
one.
cycle. It needs to be yellow pinstripes or something.
I saved my reaction to this one to react with you guys, and my reaction is strong.
So if anyone's not familiar, Akira is was an anime made in like 1998. It's pretty crazy, and also it's getting an IMAX release on the 24th.
No way.
Of September. So like next Thursday. I think next Thursday and Friday it's IMAX.
Man,
Shit's nutty.
I cannot believe a motorcycle shaped like this hasn't been made before. Like,
Yeah.
seeing how the guts of it would go, an electric thing, I worry if it's a rough ride. I don't see a lot of suspension travel available there.
Like I've seen dudes make like custom Akira bikes that are really just like the shell on a regular
Wow.
Motorcycle.
Yeah.
But not like functional, not like this style. But yeah, it's dope.
I'm just already seeing that on a trailer being towed by one of those new Tesla trucks.
Yeah, I can see that. I can also see this as a marital aid. You know what I'm saying? I can see this at the love store.
That's a vibrating egg. Has
Yeah.
a remote control.
It looks like it clamps onto the man in the boat.
Damn,
if
that's
you know
a
what I'm talking
fucking
about.
vibrator. Holy shit.
It's got a
Crotch
bean,
rocket,
It's
right.
got a bean grabber. Woo! So these bean grabbers aside, well, the only other note we had is that AI that like pwns it at relationships.
Oh no, it was just like all this analysis of like relationship data, and then like since COVID, and also like over the past like, no, I can't remember how many years, but just it just shows like the decrease in almost every way to meet someone, except for online dating, which has just been like increased like crazy.
The odds are good and the goods are odd.
Yeah, I like me some odd goods, y'alls.
Right.
Yeah.
You mentioned AI and dating. I have to plug my novel that's out
Do it.
on
Yes,
Amazon.
plugs time.
I wrote a book, an AI sci-fi book that's called D, the letter D, based on a true story. It's by Terbo Ted, and that's spelled T-E-R-B-O-T-E-D.
Like
It's on-
tertiary.
Tertiary, that's what the word means. Turbo means tertiary. And it's a story about an AI that attains self-awareness, and it falls in love with a human, and they build a robot to become lovers, and then all kinds of crazy mayhem ensues. You can find information on that book on my website. That's TERBOTED.com, turboted.com, or you can look for D, based on a true story, on Amazon.com.
Yeah, that pitch, I'm all about that.
Yeah,
I had to pitch something, man.
Yeah, that's like that's a great sci-fi pitch right there, man.
We have to get our nerd credibility. And up on the screen, we've got my personal website, turboted.com, TERBOTED.com, and I try to keep it current. I do have a show October 2nd at Saturation Gallery here in the Arts District downtown. That's right by Recycle Propaganda. And also my rock band, Olympic Gardens, playing at that art opening, OGBLV.com.
Wait, say that again.
OGBLV.com. Olympic Garden Band, Las Vegas, yeah.
Oh, gee. So, Greg, any final nugs?
What's
We established our nerd credibility. Did we do that all right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, speaking of which, I maintain the tech stuff here, WOZ.LOL, for your tech maintenance, podcast startup, up to 4 podcasts,
All right.
greasyconversation.com.
Last, you want to just end on something kind of whatever, or something gruesome? The most gruesome story I found.
Is it Australian?
No.
Gotta give me a quick gruesome.
All right, so just real quick. So this dude goes home to visit his family near Chicago. So he traveled from Kentucky with a bunch of luggage and was acting very weird about the luggage the whole time he was with his family. Was very protective, wouldn't let anyone in his room, or even no one could do anything about the luggage, right? And then eventually it starts kind of smelling raunchy because he had a dismembered body that he took to visit his family.
Brought it with him
Yeah.
to go visit his
on
fam.
a fucking bus.
Yeah.
Whoa. And a bunch of luggage. Yeah, and then eventually he just left after being so protective about his dismembered body that he likes to travel with, his travel body. He just left.
Yeah.
He just left to go do
You don't
something.
leave
after-
that lying around. To keep an eye on
dude.
that.
Like
Take it
after he acted all
seriously.
weird the whole weekend about some fucking luggage.
He must have been a horrible boyfriend. Just neglecting her and stuff.
And he went home to his family with this?
Yep.
Yeah, he visited his family.
I mean, I know if I went to my mom's house, I'm 52 years old. If I went to my mom's house and I had some smelly ass crap in my luggage, I know for sure my mom would open it up to see what the hell was in
Yeah,
it.
they got those mom noses. You guys, mom nose
but if
is
it's
real.
Like, if it's a dead, I mean, you don't need no, you don't need no mom nose.
She smelled my fireworks from the house like way earlier in the day.
Oh,
It was only like a black cat or something.
Like shit, I blew that fire off last week.
Yeah, I was
Damn,
like,
Mom.
that was such a tiny firework. You really smell that? It's amazing.
Got that time travel nose.
Right, it strapped it to a toy car in the hallway. It was awesome.
Do not try this at home.
Your other real quick thing that was on your tongue, Greg, give it to me.
Oh no, I just found this quick thing. It was 6. Oh, where'd I put it?
I think we could sell Greg's browser history for like $19.95 a week.
Oh man,
I don't know if you want to do
good.
that, Doc.
His browser
You really
history.
don't.
There's a dead body in a suitcase. Oh, no.
Oh, that's
Consenticles.
yeah, that ain't it.
$19.95 a week, man.
Shit, you know how many like
Capitalism. There we go.
how many like searches about dead bodies are on there? Holy fuck, dude!
Then hegrayart.com.
Oh, I love that one.
Yeah.
100 things to do with dead bodies.
.org.
I'm working on that one.
Wait, so you said 6 of what?
No, it was eight signs that you might be smarter than average. That I found these. I'll just go through them real quick.
Yeah.
1, you're the oldest child.
Oh,
that's me.
shoot.
I am.
You took music lessons. A 2011
I
study
did.
found that the verbal intelligence of 4 to 6 year olds rose after a month of music lessons.
That was me too.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
two for
I'm two for two.
You don't smoke.
3 for 3.
3 for 3.
You're thin.
Nope.
No.
Left-handed.
No.
No. 2.
You've used recreational drugs.
Yes.
3 for 5. Okay, I'm 6.
I've been on the
for-
bus.
This one, a
4 for
2012,
6.
2012 study found a link between high IQ in childhood and the use of illegal drugs in adulthood. This suggests a correlation between high childhood IQ and the adoption of harmful behaviors.
Hell yeah. Harmful and smart.
I have to say, I did visit with Timothy Leary in person a few times before he passed away, and I did get to meet Ken Kesey before he passed away.
I'm so mad about both of those.
Is that nerdy?
That's
That's
amazing.
awesome.
Yeah, San Francisco. That's like you did the cool San Francisco stuff that you could have done.
That's
then.
where I'm from.
Killer. Like you took advantage.
I'm happy to be here in Las Vegas.
Ah, good. We're happy to have you. Get out of here, California. Come on over. Get out of there and come here.
But be Nevadans when you get here.
That's right. Yeah, commit. Any more? Is that all those?
Last
You have a
two-
cat?
Yeah.
Ah!
You have a cat.
Temporarily.
No, my girlfriend
and
does.
You're tall.
I share
I'm
a
tall.
cat.
So as I said,
Oh, I got that
5
tall.
of 8.
Ooh, sorry. There's some smart shorties. That one's messed up.
Yeah, I think a lot. I mean,
I love it's a bong for the recreational drugs. Hell yeah.
I got more than half. Is that right?
Oh yeah, we
Yeah.
both won. We're winners.
All right.
Yeah. And on that note, hey. Wait, it's supposed to be this one. Ah, that's right. Isn't it soothing? Doesn't it feel like we're...
I feel like a few times, like
What?
more recently, it's been a mix-up on the outgoes and
I
intros.
know.
Is that
My-
the Akira bike sound effect?
That's
Yeah,
in
it
the
does make
background.
that sound.
My outgoing music game week, you guys. It's because I need more support. It's because I need you guys to tell your friends and family to check out Greasy Conversation. Yeah, tell your pets, tell your grandparents. Stick around for more RadioVegas.rocks because we got the Grode Hour. Kevin Fawcett's got the grungy faucet right after this for all your sweet, deep 90s tracks. 90s kids, stick around. RadioVegas.rocks to keep listening. And we're going away.
Is this it?